Don't touch that dial now. We're just getting started.
So this should be fun. You guys know for a fact that Nintendo, for the most part, they kind of do their own thing. They've kind of been doing their own thing probably since the beginning of time. There was a time that Nintendo was competing against other consoles and stuff like that in terms of graphical fidelity in video games, and that kind of stopped after the GameCube era. After that, they released the Wii, which was mainly a gimmick, which was motion controls. And kind of since then, they've kind of had some kind of gimmick to their actual consoles. They never really hopped in line with places like Xbox or PlayStation, PC or whatever. They kind of did their own thing, and they released games for the most part. If you want to take a look at them with a magnifying glass, they're not exactly like state-of-the-art things like Crysis, and yes, I'm talking about Crysis, because I kind of feel like it's still one thing that's, I don't know, some people might use that as a benchmark, maybe Crysis Remastered. Fuck, I'm pretty sure they have their own setting called Will It Run. But Nintendo's really, for the most part, for well over a decade, haven't been really competing in terms of graphic fidelity in video games. And I got on X this morning, and I kind of stumbled across this here. And this is Nib. I'm sure you guys are familiar with him. And I kind of butted in, and I do apologize for this, Nib. Like, I really do. I hopped in and used my idiom, or my idiocy, and not looked at the actual source of what you were replying to. But you kind of see a lot of this, and it kind of started right here. And this is one of those Nintendo guys. It's another one of the fanboys, and trust me, we're going to talk about all of them because it's just is what it is. And I kind of find this specific thing is kind of relevant because, well, I mean, it's kind of silly to be honest with you. But anyways, we got this Nintendo fanboy right here. His name's Nintendo God, which, I mean, that paints a picture for you. I mean, you're not a god, but anyways. This explains Nintendo Switch 2, hate/fear of the system, 2025 Switch 2 Edition Enhanced Metroid Prime 4, 2025 Premium AAA Xbox Series PS5 game marathon. Give Nintendo the same power as the Xbox Series and PS5 consoles, and their games will embarrass the competition 98% of the time. Now, this looks pretty good, I'm not going to lie. Look at that. Metroid looks really good. Really fantastic, actually. I myself, when I took a look at Marathon, and I was like, well, this isn't Marathon to begin with. This is just an extraction shooter that is pretty much going out of style for the most part, with a weird aesthetic that doesn't look nearly as good as the actual trailers. I thought it looked kind of gaudy, but I like what they was going for with it. But yeah, if you take a look at that, you can kind of compare it. And I don't know if you guys remember when back in the day they would release screenshots of video games and promotional magazines or videos where they doctored up the graphics a little bit to make it look a whole lot better. I think they called it bull shots at the time. So I don't know if this is like a bull shot. It maybe not. I think this is actual gameplay. And I think this is probably a good representation of what you're going to see running the Nintendo Switch in docked mode or undocked. For the most part, the Switch 2, for what it is, it's exactly what I wanted. A more powerful Switch. That's all I could ask for. Again, I'm not one of those guys that really cares about graphics. I used to be on that plane. I remember back in the day when the Xbox 360 and the PS3 came out, and I saw Gears of War for the first time, or the first time I tried Crysis. It just blew me away. Now anymore, graphics really doesn't do anything for me. Yes, it's nice to look at, but you got to remember these big, heavy graphical games, they do require a lot of horsepower to run them. Not only that, it's very, very expensive to develop this shit for the most part. That's why you're seeing skyrocketing budgets of games being like $300-400 million. Let's not even talk about GTA 6 because the estimates of how much this game costs is really, really out there. But anyways, I don't like how these people are, comparing the Nintendo Switch with the current lineup of powerful consoles and PCs. I think this is more in line with maybe a handheld like the Steam Deck or their Asus ROG Ally. I think that's kind of more what we're aiming for, but both of those aren't really things you go for like insane graphical fidelity. And I think there is a market for those games. Don't get me wrong. It's nice to hop on my TV, my 4K OLED, and just be like, oh yeah, that looks really nice. I'm playing, Hellblade. That looked nice. Playing what else? Played The Last of Us, not number 2, because I'm not going to play that shit again. Horizon, that looked nice. But it just doesn't really do much for me. Like, I think I lost luster for that back during the PS3, Xbox 360 days, because when I take a look at the game, I'm like, yeah, that's got really nice graphics, but a lot of this is going to be held back, and there's not going to be much gameplay. I.e., games like, I don't know, The Order. I don't remember if you guys remember The Order that came out on the PS4. That game's still fucking beautiful even today. I don't know why they haven't remastered, since they're remastering everything else. I thought that looked insane. I thought Gears of War looked insane, but after a while I just didn't care, because like I said, the better the graphics, the more horsepower you need to run these things. And it doesn't matter if you can have the nicest graphics in the world, but if you don't have gameplay to back it up, then it doesn't really mean anything. At this point, you might as well just download a really nice HD wallpaper or watch a movie at this point, because what's the point? There's nice things to look at, and I understand there's a lot of guys that are like, make the graphics better and better and better, but I think they're going the wrong way with that, because you're going to spend all your money and budget on these graphics to the point where the gameplay doesn't really work. And what happens? You have a failure of a game you spent $400 million on, and a lot of it went to developing the graphics, not really the core gameplay, because it's just graphics to me. I mean, it's nice and all, but I can still go back and play Super Nintendo games and still have fun. But anyways, was taking a look at here, and like I said, the dude was glazing the Switch, and that's fine. You can be excited for the Switch. And I hopped on Nib here, and Nib says, ridiculous. Graphics don't make a game, but real talk, IQ aside, Metroid 4 Prime Beyond Switch 2 Edition looks barely looks better than the best looking games on the PS3, let alone PS4 and PS5. Metroid Prime 4 versus Killzone gameplay screenshots using unofficial screens 2. We can hop in here, take a look at that. So, yeah, I mean, look at it. It's the art style for Killzone, and I'm not going to lie, Killzone really does. You pop it in today on your PS3 or something like that, hook it up on a nice TV, it's still going to look nice. And that was the art direction. And they did a lot of stuff for Killzone to make it look that good. I mean, like I said, you can pop it in today and it still looks really nice. But the art style for Metroid itself is not really the same. You take a look at, like I said, I didn't even have the fucking thing on. You take a look right here. I mean, the shadows, the details, everything looks really gritty. You take a look at it's kind of more poppy with the collars. It's a totally different art style. Not really even comparable for the most part, so I don't really understand why we're comparing this in 2025. It has to really do with fanboys. The only people who are actually making these comparisons are fanboys that are trying to get some type of attention, because they know as soon as you start saying, this is better than the PlayStation 5, no, this is better than, I don't know, the Xbox One and PC, yeah, this is better than the 5090, my PlayStation 5 Pro, bro, yeah, season, code, all this shit. But I did, like I said, I did hop on here. I kind of made an idiot myself, because, yeah, like, maybe I shouldn't have commented on this. I forgot what he said. I said, yeah, Nintendo has not been competing in graphics for well over a decade. That's not why people play Nintendo games, and that's true today. I mean, Nintendo Switch, for the most part, is a good example of this. The Wii was successful. It was a good example of this. These games aren't, like, highly demanding. Yeah, some of them are pushing the limits of what the Switch can do, and I don't think it's a problem. You can have a really great art style, i.e. like Zelda Breath of the Wild or something like that, and if it pops, it pops, and that's why one of the things I look at, take a look at self-shading. Self-shading is something that ages really, really well. Good example, like I said, Zelda, the Wind Waker. You had things like Fear Effect, and several other. Beautiful Joe, maybe, and I'm sure there's more. What was the other one about the wolf, the paintbrush? Just different type of art styles that actually kind of pop, that kind of stand the test as time. You take a look like really realistic graphics throughout the years. Some of them don't really hold up. And I kind of feel like whenever you go for that kind of stuff and you go back to play those games, you're going to be like, this looks archaic. But if you're going back and you're playing something like Wind Waker, and at the time people hated Wind Waker because it wasn't gritty or realistic, but you take a look at it now, even with that HD re-release, which for some fucking reason Nintendo doesn't want to re-release it because, it'd be nice to have a physical copy somehow, which is my fault for going all digital during the Wii U era. But I don't really think it really matters. And we kind of go through here, and Nib's like, I'm well aware, and also why I buy Nintendo systems and games. The person I was responding to was specifically talking about the graphics, and again, he was right. It was stupid for me to hop in and half-ass read what was going on, but I still kind of feel like what I did say kind of stands. Like, I feel like it does. But I said I just find it odd when you see guys like Tripster, this retard here. We've talked about him so many times. This guy is constantly glazing PlayStation, like to the point where it's just like the most ridiculous thing. Like, all he does all day long is talks about, oh my god, what is that shit? But anyways, what the hell happened there, man? He's always just talking about graphics. I mean, graphics this, graphics that, graphics this, graphics that. I just don't think that's very, very important to me. Maybe it is to you, and I see a lot of guys on the PlayStation side or the Xbox side, when something looks super nice, they automatically go to Digital Foundry, and that's kind of why Digital Foundry existed to begin with, is to compare graphic fidelity and see how this game runs on current hardware, PC, and consoles. And there's always been this fight. This isn't nothing new. I had some retard tell me that I should stop making fun of people doing console wars, and I'm like, why shouldn't I? Why shouldn't I not make fun of these people? Because it's fucking silly. And he kind of compared it to sports teams. I'm like, no, not really. I just think it's pointless. But the graphics things, like I said, it did look nice, and the evolution of the graphics for the longest time, like you're going from like the Nintendo, the Super Nintendo, so on and so forth. And I think one of the biggest jumps to me, well, there's two places here, have been the Super Nintendo to the N64, the PlayStation 1. But the biggest jump to me, and that's just to me, was probably the PS2 and the original Xbox to the 360. I think that was really, really big. And of course the 64 to the PS2. Those were really big, but now it's kind of like not that great. I mean, it's, you see it and like, okay, that's cool, blah blah blah. But like I said, maybe it's not for me. You're allowed to make that. If you just play games for the graphics, that's perfectly fine. That's up to you. I'm not going to judge you on that, but I still think it's kind of silly to bring in Nintendo on the equation. Even if you're the fanboy that's starting this shit, I don't see the point of arguing about Nintendo's graphics, considering the fact it is proven that they haven't been competing in that. And yes, this new machine is more powerful than the Switch, and it's able to run modern games for the most part. Probably not on par with your next-gen consoles like the PS5, and the retards that's out there saying, well, it runs better than the PS5 and the Pro and the PC and the Xbox Series. Like, fuck off. Stop. Grow up. Just grow up. Quit being a fanboy. Quit glazing. Just play the fucking game and shut up. But that's just me. What do you guys think? This is a short one. Thank God. But I kind of want to make things shorter and more to the point, so my ADHD doesn't take over and fuck up the whole video. In the background, you're going to see some graphics. Some good old graphics. But anyways, thank you guys for watching. Hit that subscribe button and I'll see you soon. Oh yeah, Tripser, go fuck yourself, you stupid dick, you dumb, stupid dumbass, you dumb stupid, dumb fanboy bitch. You fucking idiot. Actually, you're not. Not in real life. I'm sure you're not like this in real life. You're just being retarded half the time. All right, guys. I'll talk to you later.
Shut the fuck up. You're a fucking cunt. Shut the fuck up. You're a stupid cunt. Suck my dick.